you thinking. I never liked the word triggered. I never liked that word. Allow Google Chrome to find devices to local networks. Don't worry about that. I always knew that once you use your thought process, you are winning. You are absolutely winning. So here we go. When you are a nonprofit leader and you know that it's time for summer, spring, fall, winter in the tri state area of the Four Seasons, you always have to coincide with them because that's just the way it is. The majority of people in the world coincide with their weather, with their climates. You ever heard people say, "Oh, it's so dreary out. It's bad." How could you say any day is bad weather? How could you say anything that oh, it's raining, it's 50 degrees, it's cloudy? Those are all gifts to the world. That is a gift to have a different climate. If you're somewhere, even in Alaska, and you notice that people in Alaska know the cold, but they know when it's not so cold, more cold, slightly cold, right? So it's always a change. It's always a change in every atmosphere of your climate. Always. It's always a difference. When I thought about starting Lil's for nonprofit seniors and homeless corp, it was dead of winter. It was so cold that I would say, why is someone trying to live in this area where it's like a private area in our parking lot, right? I would say that, but who am I to judge them for trying to stay out of the climate, the safety areas of outside of that gate, right? Who am I to say that? So that's how we all do. We all find a way to figure it out. We make sure we're in a safe area to live, to work, to go to school, to start a business. We make sure that in that area, state, city, country, that we know the climate, the weather. Also, we you know what's the grand thing that we know is the services that are needed. Indirectly, we know this now. We go to our local stores, and in our local stores, there's a majority of one type of product. It could be like, there's so much bread in this store. Why? It could be the high cost of the steaks, the beef. If you do not use this to figure out the services of where you are going to fall into what is called routine. You didn't figure it out. You didn't know that in your area you moved, there's a low cost on bottled water. You did not know if you go uptown from where you live that there's a higher cost. Well, you know that's reverse in the tri-state area. Everything in Manhattan is higher. Everything uptown is a little cheaper. But also your real estate is higher downtown. Your real estate as you go further upstate, and I'm talking about New York, is higher. So When you are thinking nonprofit, just for an example right now, when you are thinking nonprofit, you should always know that some system was put in play for that nonprofit to be in your area. Okay, let's think of it like this. Woo. Let's think of it like this. I have shopped Lower Manhattan, not Lower Manhattan, Mid Manhattan, Park Avenue, Fifth Avenue, more like window shop. And notice that those stores are the luxury brand stores that people like tourists and but people here to shop there because of their quality of stuff. Everything around that area, from the restaurants to the, they call them delis, but they bodegas, um, cleaners, barbershop, everything around that same area is costly. Why? Because of the climate of where they're at. Not the heat, not the cold, not the spring, not the winter, the climate, financial, right? Come uptown, Harlem. Go further uptown, the Bronx. Go across. You got Queens, you got Staten Island, you got Brooklyn, right? What you think is happening all across the climate of those places as pertaining to non-profit? What do you think is happening? The first thing is happening. The subsidy, the Section 8, the homeowners, the real estate, all of that is considered climate change. Now, I live in one part of the city of New York that I would say is um, working class. I would say a lot of professionals live in the area. I would also state that the schools, those professionals in the schools do not live around here, do not live in the radius or the climate of where we're at. So now what? Their climate persona is different than ours, but they're teaching our children. So back to the nonprofit. What are you doing for the climate of the location, the community that you reside in? What do you notice that there's a need of that another area has more than you? I always pay attention to that. If I'm going to go travel, I'm definitely paying attention to not only the tourist areas, I'm paying more and more attention to the tourists who come to this area where you're going to be. And when I say that, I mean, look at our tourists who come to New York. They go to 42nd Street or they take these tour buses and they go around the five boroughs to look at our climate. Go on a tour bus of your city. You don't have to be a tourist. You are someone who are who is observing the climate of your area. So you can get a different eyesight, mentality, and a heart for different areas. So in the south part of the Bronx, a little bit over, which I live in the south part too, but a little bit over, cross the bridge, there's a tour bus that takes people from mid Manhattan through the five boroughs to look at murals that were put up, like Big Pond or what other murals they have up. They had George Floyd up. They had um, um, Mayweather. A few very important murals up. So I'm like, why would they make a tour bus to go through the five boroughs to see the murals? I think that's how you say it. Ooh, why? So I stopped and asked and paid attention to who was getting on the bus. And there was a lot of people like from um, different countries. They were not from here. They were touring. And they wanted to see also bodegas. That was, to me, not strange, but strange. So they would park at different bodegas or different diners that were near the murals that they would go see. And I always saw them with a pad and a pen. And I'm like, I asked the tour bus guy, where's everybody coming from? And he had to get a translator to tell me. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take that tour one day just to see what is it that why do they want to see these murals? It's art. That's all. And I get it. I get it. So when I'm teaching about nonprofits, when I'm on YouTube and I'm finding out about nonprofits and where they're at, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Atlanta, and I'm trying to find out their climate of their community that they're serving, these are the things that come up. And I'm sure they thinking about me too, and the ones that's here, like National Each One Teach One, I've been going on for 57 years. You have so many, right? What is the climate? Figure out the climate as a nonprofit leader to be, know other areas and why people start nonprofits in those areas. Not only you staying like this, like a blinder, like you don't know what's happening outside of your own reach circle of why you want a nonprofit. I already told y'all how I saw two gentlemen in our parking lot of a private area that had nerve to build their own shelter in a private parking lot during COVID time. Um, just to find safety because it was an area where they knew nobody would do nothing violent to them. Also, to just like we as residents, they felt the same way. Pay attention to your areas of climate. Okay, that's what I'm gonna say. Now, to see if I'm going to go to this Zumba class. Whoo, hot, but I have goals. And when you have goals for your entities, you stay focused with those, you teach and tell people about those, but you also keep up your consistency, right? I'll end on that. What you say you're going to do, or don't say it. And that could be to yourself, okay? Be responsible. Ask someone to be accountability partner for you if you're not able to do it on your own. I do that often. I do that often. And with that being said, have a beautiful, beautiful day. Have a nice one.